At Pan M360, I am with Daniel Ruiz, who's the drummer of Empanadas Ilegales, a band from Vancouver, a quartet specialized in cumbia, but much more. I heard that you also mambo lovers, and you so well. We know, Daniel, that cumbia is the major beat of all Americas for Hispanic people. Originally from Colombia, now it's spread everywhere in Latin America, Central America, and also in all the big cities of North America where are Latin communities. And Daniel, can you describe us? You Empanadas Ilegales has released, excuse me, Papayan in 2021, Creepy Mambo in 2022, and more recently, uh, Creepy Mambo Rooftop. So there's a continuation. You have yet a very good experience of playing live. We've been told that you filled a house in Montreal before attending Mundial Montréal, which is the show of Sala Rosa on 21st of November.
Yes, well, thanks first of all for having me. Um, Actually, I want to mention we are a bigger band than four. We
Mhm.
have normally seven people because we also have a percussionist, we have a maracas player, and we usually have a trumpet player as well, or a saxophone. And like in the cases you were mentioning, we do have three albums. The first one was Papayón. That was like the first album that kind of came from the pandemic times, being like, oh, we got to make something, and that kind of like was the birth of the Empanadas Ilegales. Then later we had the Creepy Mambo, which was a new like different approach, and kind of like the genre Creepy Mambo came to be because it's kind of like spooky, but then we really embrace our Latin roots. The band itself, we're compromised by people from Colombia. We have people from Argentina, from Ecuador, also a couple Canadians. So we do have like a mix of that Latin American flavor. So we kind of like to say it as we all are an empanada and we all have a different filling inside. So it's like a different kind of empanada, which kind of like translates to basically everybody in the world. Everybody is an empanada and can relate to that. Like you can see like dumplings in Asia, or like pierogies in Ukraine. So it's kind of like everybody's their own little empanada with their own little flavor.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, this recent album is the rooftop sessions. So it's basically we're playing a lot of the songs from the Creepy Mambo album, but it's a live recording that we did in a rooftop. So everything's like recorded live, and there's a video of it. And that's kind of like we like to call that as kind of like the B section of the album. The Creepy Mambo is like the studio version, and then we have the version of the live rooftop sessions. And currently, yeah, we are in Montreal. We played last Sunday, and we played at Sala Rosa, and we played with a couple bands that are friends from Canada, and they also play cumbia. So it was like the cumbia night, and for a Sunday night, we were like so impressed that for our first show ever in Montreal, there were so many people. Everybody was dancing. It was such a special energy. And yeah, we're very excited to play Mundial. Like we have our showcase on Thursday, and we're just so excited to play in front of as many people as we can and get them enjoying and dancing, because that's our goal with our music, to bring people together, even if you don't
Yeah.
know what cumbia is or salsa or anything. Like our goal is to get you moving, and that's
Yeah.
usually what happens, and we love seeing that because it's kind of like give and take with the audience for us.
Yeah, we know that cumbia has different versions in every Latin American countries. Argentinian cumbia is different from the Colombian, etc. So can you be more specific about, because the guys of the band are coming from many places in South America. How has it been translated in your band?
I mean, I gotta say, there's a couple things. Like we have three Colombians in the band.
So
Myself,
Colombia is the prominent.
yeah, but at the same time, like I feel like the birth of cumbia was a bit in Colombia in the region,
Yeah.
but by it spreading to other parts of the world, like parts of South America, we started noticing slight changes. Like the Argentinian cumbia is a little more like upbeat, and the feel is a little more square, so it's like more driving. And then, comparing to Mexican cumbia, that kind of like gets a bit more of that, almost like a Texan vibe. It's like also very like
More Tex-Mex.
straight. Yeah, exactly. And then another cool thing that Mexicans did is there was a movement called the rebajadas, which means kind of like bringing it down. So what ended up happening is, back then, when they were playing records of cumbia in the discotheques,
Hmm.
the DJs would kind of run out of records, and people would be like, we're gonna keep on dancing. So they started playing them at the slow speed of the record. So it kind of like allowed them to have another set of music, and this kind of like took off. And we actually, as the band, we have another album. It's kind of like a digital release that we did of the Creepy Mambo sessions, but they're rebajadas, so if they're like really slowed down versions of the album. And so that's kind of like another example of what happened with cumbia. um, I would say, from my background, my grandfather was a cumbia singer, and for me it's like so natural, and I just love it. So I always try to bring in that energy to like convey and honor our ancestors, and honor like the cumbia. But at the same time, we try to bring our own modern elements to it. We bring a lot of influence from a band, for example, it's called Los Mirlos. They're from Peru, and they kind of started like the whole Amazonian chicha psychedelic cumbia vibe, because they started playing with guitars with effects and doing all these like beautiful intricate lines, and kind of that started a new kind of like subgenre of cumbia, which is more like the psychedelic cumbia, where it's drifting away from the traditional instruments, but then still keeping that essence of the feel, and using modern elements like synthesizers and electric guitars and those weird sounds.
Yeah. Cumbia is the mother of all rhythms that are over the world now. Afrobeats in Nigeria is highly inspired by cumbia as reggaeton. So cumbia is one of the parents of the world beat right now, the world main beat. Would
Hmm.
you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I've been noticing more and more influences, even in like modern pop, like big hit songs that are having a bit of that, like even that reggaeton beat on, or a bit of that cumbia. It's so awesome to see, and like it really inspires us, because it's something that we really appreciate. And then we started seeing that more people are really getting into it, and it's so infectious that you just gotta dance and enjoy it. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
and now it's very present in North America. In many cities, you have cumbia bands, excuse me, and the Vancouver vibe is specific. The way you developed your own signature is specific. So we see new extrapolations of Central America and South America cumbia bands right now in cities like Vancouver or Montreal or Toronto
Hmm.
or Calgary. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you. It's so nice to like feel that like people are really recognizing our own sound, because that's something that we really try to convey. We don't want to be a band that is trying to do something that other bands have done. So we really try to push our boundaries, and challenge each other to just like make something new and unique. We're actually working, almost finished our next album that we're hoping to release next year. I think in the summer it's probably going to be ready. And in this album, we're like bringing in new recording techniques, new like writing arrangements, and yeah, it's so fun, because I mean, essentially music is it's kind of like a way for us to convey feelings, and share and communicate, and like be in contact with the audience. So like to be able to explore and try new things. It's always like we don't want to be stuck on like, oh, this is the formula that works, we're just going to do that. No, we want to expand and keep growing, and because music is always going to give us more to learn, and there's never going to be like a top of like, hey, we made it, this is the peak of music. It's like, no, there's going to be more always to learn and to try. So it's super
Never
fun.
end.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so we're gonna have this opportunity to taste illegal empanadas. Why ilegales?
Okay, so this is a funny story because it kind of came from a moment during, I don't know, it was some years back in Colombia. There was a law that got passed very briefly that people were not allowed to sell food in the streets. And if you've been in Colombia or many Latin American countries, that's like the best food you want to find. Like
Yeah, the street food.
the lady in the street with their cart, and she's making empanadas or arepas or whatever. So then they made this law, and it's just funny because we remember seeing on TV the news. You know, it's like the news. Oh, breaking news! The vendors cannot sell in the street. So there's this lady, and she's just furious, and she, you know, that's how she makes her living. And she's making this whole thing of like, well, if I can't sell them, I'm just gonna sell illegal empanadas, and I don't care, and come get them. Like, you know, she's like so adamant, and we're like, whoa, this lady's so cool. And then that name is really funny. Let's use it. And then from there it came illegal empanadas, and it's kind of like now I think of it as that thing that I was mentioning before. Like, we are all empanadas, and we all have our different flavor
Yeah.
and feelings. So it's kind of like you know, we're illegal empanadas, but like at the end of the day, we're all empanadas.
Yeah, sure. We understand now. So we're going to be able to taste this great empanada buffet in Montreal, and we're looking forward the releasing of your next album next year in
Mhm.
2025, and there will be a following from Pan Am 360 with Empanadas Ilegales. I thank you very much for this. Welcome in Montreal. Have a great stay.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure. And yeah, stay in touch. Find us on the internet. If we're out there, you can listen to us, and we have some videos. And yeah, very, very happy to be here. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Gracias. Bye.